right, Brian Dutcher, men's basketball coach, San Diego State Aztecs.
Sent to Seattle, still good enough to join us, in fact.
He's in Seattle?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Dutch, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm heading to Seattle. I'm on the road right now, heading to the airport.
What are you going to be doing in Seattle?
Well, it's our off day from practice. We're given another day off because it's our bye week, but got to build for the future. I'm heading out recruiting, so I'm heading to Seattle. Justin Hudson's heading to Texas. Got Tim Shelton out and got Dave Velasquez out, so we're out pounding the pavement.
Do you enjoy the recruiting process? What's the enjoyment of it, and what are the challenges of it?
I love the relationships, building relationships with families and young men, trying to help them with their future. And the challenges are there are a lot of good schools after the same kids. So in the end, the kids really don't have a bad choice. You can't get mad if they say, well, I'm going to USC over San Diego State or UCLA or Washington. But when you do get them, it's really rewarding because you put the hard work in.
Dutch, I bet you're really good in a living room. Like, the recruiting, when you go into a home, I could see that, and I'm sure it's a honed craft. But do you feel comfortable in a living room? Do you always feel like, okay, this family understands me, this family gets me?
I think I'm good only because I really enjoy people, and I'm a people person. It's not work for me. So I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy spending time with them, hearing about themselves, find out what their lives are about. And so I'm generally interested in all these young kids I recruit. And so even though I miss on some of them, sometimes that relationship continues.
Dutch, you've had a bit of a rough stretch here, lost 4 of the last 5. What's the mentality like in the locker room right now, and how do you keep that team motivated?
I just will not let them get down. I mean, we got to go to work. That's all you can do. Like you said, you can't watch film your way out of a slump. You can't talk your way out of a slump. Although we watch film and we talk, but you have to work your way out of it. So we had a very hard practice yesterday with a day off today, and the kids are still working. They still believe. So college basketball is there's a lot of parity. So every game's going to be down to the wire. Every game's going to be close, and we've got to find a way to get on the winning side of that at the end of some of these games.
Aztecs head basketball coach Brian Dutcher with us on Extra 1360. The Aztecs do not play until Saturday. Dutcher heading to Seattle, do some recruiting. They'll take on Air Force Viejas Arena Saturday night, a game you'll hear right here on Extra 1360. Dutch, I know that you know Marvin Menzies well, head coach at UNLV. I'd like to read you some of his comments after the game. This is from the Union Tribune, and just get your thoughts. Menzies said after the game, quote, regarding your team, he said, quote, they're in transition right now with Dutch at the helm. They're finding their way, even though Dutch was there before, sitting in the head coach seat now. He's going to learn and get even better. He's going to grow the thing and launch it back to national prominence that they had, end quote. What do you make of his comments?
I hope he's on spot on. So, no. I mean, Marvin's a good friend of mine. So I would not anticipate he wouldn't say anything that wouldn't be positive about me and our program, having spent time here. He knows, even though, they're a game up on us now, but he's got a team in transition. He's got 4 or 5 new pieces, and sometimes it takes longer to put it together. So you just hope as a coach that you're delivering the right message. The kids are working hard and they're buying in. And if you can stay on task, you will get there. And so with these young kids I've got out there, with the veterans that I'm trying to get healthy, we still have a chance to make a really nice run this season, and that's our intention.
So do you think it's fair to say that you are a team in transition currently?
You're always in transition in basketball. You've got new pieces. It's not like in the NFL or the NBA, you get your franchise player and you have them for 6, 7, 8 years and you build around them. In college basketball, you got the seniors going through in 4 years. If you're lucky, you've got one good enough to stay 1 or 2 years like a Kawhi Leonard. And so you're always rebuilding it. With the transfer rate now, 40% of kids leave after their sophomore year. So there's 40% of most rosters that are leaving, and you're bringing people in to replace them. So that's the excitement of the coaching gig, is always building a new team. I think everybody knows, it's well documented, we're playing 3 freshmen a lot of minutes. We're dealing with Trey Kell, injured, not injured, and trying to piece people into that role. Jeremy Hensley did a great job last game against UNLV, stepping in for Trey, going 7 for 12 from the field, 19 points. And so that's the excitement, to get these these guys ready when their opportunity comes, like Jeremy in the last game, to step up and produce. So that's what makes it fun going to work every day. It's not the same. It's different.
Dutch, where's your greatest frustration lie with what's going on the defensive end? I know that UNLV game, difficult to get stops. It was a 2-point game with 4.5 minutes to go, and then the inability to just get crucial stops down the stretch. I know you were frustrated by their 88 points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fight in the team. We got down double digits in both halves, came back to tie it at halftime. Then the second half, they got up 12. We cut it to a 2-point game with 4 to go, and then gave up back-to-back, elbow jump shots. So we know what our deficiencies are. This is the first time in a long time we haven't had the dominant shot blocker underneath the basket. So that's not to say these guys aren't doing a good job defensively, trying to fight and do things differently. But with Skylar Spencer for 4 years, and then Valentine, as much as he was not a stalwart offensively, he provided some shot blocking ability. So we're missing that piece down low around the basket, and I thought UNLV really took advantage of that. I thought they really hurt us inside with baskets in the paint. So there's always work to be done. We worked probably 80% of our practice yesterday defensively, trying to shore up some things and try to do things a little better. It's usually one step this way, one step that way to be in the correct position, so we work really hard on positioning, obviously creating buy-in. The kids all know they have to get better. I ask every one of them, what do you have to get better at? What do you have to get better at? They give me honest answers. They know what their deficiencies are. So now that's half the job done. Now they'll work hard to hopefully correct some of those deficiencies.
Brian Dutcher on Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego with Hardwick and Richards. Coach, I've talked recently about the team saying at times when you've got a young roster, the game can be a little bit long. So they play 32, 35 great minutes, then they kind of run out of steam. And I know when I first started on the radio, it was 2 hours, and then the third hour, the wheels would absolutely fall off. Early in my NFL career, 3 great quarters, and then the last quarter is like, where did that knucklehead play come from? But then you kind of build up that work capacity. And in football, when we want to shorten the game down, you run the football, you hit some play action passes. Technically in basketball, how can you shorten the game down, although you can't affect the time on the clock?
You can maybe play some more zone, which we're going to look at doing. Maybe that will give our guys some time. Even though you have to work in a zone, you don't chase all over the floor. So maybe that would be a way to rest some legs if we're having to extend guys' minutes with Trey out with a sprained ankle. And then maybe you have to run more offense, be more patient offensively, which is not something we want to do because our offensive efficiency is about as good as it's been over the last 4 or 5 years. So we have to get the defense up to where it touches that at least. It may not be as good as our offense, but it has to touch. And sometimes it's, we have the same defensive coordinator in Justin Hudson. He does a great. He's hard on them. He gives them the absolute truth. I'm there to support him and to help lead the defense. And we have to get better, but we have some deficiencies that we have not been able to correct.
Dutch, we appreciate you. Again, the Aztecs, they are off this week. They do play Saturday night against Air Force at Viejas Arena. Dutch, they moved that tip time to 7 p.m., right? It was at 5, now it's 7?
7 o'clock.
Okay. We appreciate you. Hey, travel safe. Best
and
of luck recruiting.
Yeah, get that recruit.
Enjoy that Minnesota cold.
No, that's right. Hey, do you have any recommendations for us, restaurant-wise, or what we should do? Can we have the keys to that lake house of yours?
No, the lake house is too far away and too buried in snow. I'd say go to J.D. Hoyt's. Get yourself a good meal at J.D. Hoyt's.
J.D. Hoyt's.
J.D.
We'll
Hoyt's
write it down
is.
Now. All right. Thanks, Dutch.
All right, guys.
All
Enjoy.
right. Travel
Good
safe,
stuff.
Dutch.
I forgot.
You should have asked if you could have borrowed a cardigan. He may have a couple of cardigans stowed away. What has he got, a summer house up there in Minnesota?
He does, yeah.
A couple hours north of Minneapolis? Where is that?
Yeah, I was talking to Dutch about just, what he did when he does get a break from basketball. Obviously not in season, but out of season. He enjoys vacationing, and he's got enjoys some paddle boarding and kayaking at the lake house that they have. Mrs. Dutcher, who I've gotten to meet.
I love a lake. I love a lake.
Mrs. Dutcher, they met at University of Minnesota, their junior year. So these are, if anybody knows about Minnesota, it's the Dutchers.